Hello everyone, my name is Ammar Younas. I am CEO of IMO Innovation Consultants. IMO Innovation Consultants is a boutique digital transformation consultancy. At IMO Innovation Consultants, we provide innovative consulting, training, digital services, networking opportunities, as well as a full suite of skills that is essential for the potential growth of individuals, enterprises, state bodies, and educational institutions. We have recently started a new segment which is called as IMO Talks. The purpose of these talks is to introduce you with our experts, their areas of expertise, and different services which we offer. Another purpose of these talks is to engage students, experts, academicians, state officials, and general public to inspire them, to motivate them, and to seek their feedback. We will be discussing different topics from social and applied sciences, from humanities, from finance, economics, medicine, environment, soft skills, technology, philosophy, and so on. The topic of today's discussion is outlook of digital economy of Pakistan after COVID-19. And for discussion, we have with us Dr. Moaaz Awan. Dr. Moaaz Awan is currently serving as a researcher at Tianjin University, China. He is managing director of Global Silk Route Enterprise. He is also anchoring CPAC Times, a financial and geopolitical TV program at Pakistan State TV. His research interests include Belt and Road Initiative, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Thank you very much, Dr. Moaaz, for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ammar, for taking me in. And hello to all the viewers, and also hello to you from, I suppose you're talking from Tashkent.
Yes. So if you are ready, we can start the presentation.
Yes, sure. So let me share the presentation. And so let me just quickly ask you that, can you view the presentation right now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. It is almost 8 p.m. Pakistan time. My name is Moaaz Awan. I've done a PhD from Tania University, and as Dr. Ammar said, that I'm the managing director of GSRE, the Global Silk Route Enterprises. So today I'm going to be talking about digital economy in Pakistan and the post-COVID scenario. So let's start with a picture. So I know you guys would be wondering what this picture is. So let me fill you guys in that this is a time machine. And why am I saying that this is a time machine, and why am I saying it right now? Because I wish that right now I could go back, and not just because that we are, we're having this situation all over the world with the coronavirus, with COVID-19, but also because the answer is in the next slide. Because I wish that I could do a time travel and go back, and I could have brought some bitcoins back then. So back in July 2010, 2011, I had a subtle idea of buying bitcoins, and at that time, as you can see, that the price for bitcoins was 0.008 to $0.08 per bitcoin. And as the bitcoin was launched, within a few days, the price of bitcoin rocketed 900%. Although the people who bought the bitcoins that time and they sold them, they didn't earn quite a lot of profit, but the increase in their value was also um, uh, very, very, very large. In October 2010, the price went up to $0.125 dollars per Bitcoin, and then around 2011, it became equal to the US dollar. Um, US dollar is the global trading currency and the dominant currency, and at that time it attained the same value as the dollar, the Bitcoin. And in 2011, it went up to $31. And as you guys know that in the starting of 2018, Bitcoin hit its record high with 20,000 plus US dollars for one Bitcoin. So this is my reason that I wish I could have traveled back then and bought 10, 20, 30 because it was very cheap. I could have brought those Bitcoins and saved it for even now. And, I could have made a lot of money. So what I'm trying to say is that in digitalization, in the game of digital economy, uh, timing is of the essence because the earlier you start in this market, the earlier you try to adapt yourself, the more you have an advantage to excel. So, what is digital economy? Generally, it's the utilization of digital technologies for economic purposes, typically involving e-commerce. Now we have more services than e-commerce. We have AI, and with the 5G, with AI, there's a lot of more possibilities. Um how to say remote surgery. We have live streaming. We have mining technologies and a bunch of other technologies which is still under development. So in the digital economy, we have different sectors. And so we have the digital infrastructure, which is the software, and then we have the hardware, the infrastructure, which is live, which is real. For example, cable connectivity is an example of hardware infrastructure. Then we have servers. There's a lot of talk in the world right now that which country has bigger servers and where is data stored. So all of this is hardware. Then we have the human resource, which is also as important as the other two. And we need people with great skills, with coding skills, with IT skills, software engineers, etc. Then we have the part of logistics, which is also very, very important because all of this, what we are doing, digital infrastructure and live streaming or selling our products online or giving services are useless if we don't have logistics um, for this reason. Then we have data protection, which is also a very fundamental component of a digital economy because, as in any economy, the user has to be protected. The money has to be protected. The consumer has to be protected. So we need data protection. We need different organizations. We need different law firms and also courts, digital courts, which can settle disputes in case there are some disputes. And then we also need a huge consumer base because, well, if in a country only there are 100 or 200 or even 1,000, uh, digital consumers, then it doesn't make so much sense to invest a lot of money for digital economy. So, e-commerce is a part of Pakistan's national economy, and here is a you know chart for Pakistan. So it shows that Pakistan's per capita GDP in 2018 stood at $1,472, which is quite less um, if we see the global average. But in our region in South Asia, India has more than 2,000 USD per capita, and China has around 10,000 per capita. So in this region, we would say that we're not one of the top few countries, and there is definitely a huge potential to increase. Then we can look at what is the share of GDP of e-commerce in our GDP, and that is around 2.9 to 3.5%. This is in 2018. and the population of Pakistan is 217 million. And the total number of connected users, people who have internet, is only 38%. This 38% includes 2G, 3G, 4G, and wireless connectivity. So the general information about Pakistan, the population is 217 million. It's written 207. Well, we have 217. The total currency in circulation in Pakistan is 4.6 trillion rupees, and the young population is 65 to 70%. Uh, this is very important because when it comes to technology, the most people who are, how do you say, eligible, or who it's easier for them to adapt to digital technology is young people. So 65, 75 to 70% of youth is a very big advantage for Pakistan, for the country. Um, in the news, and also looking at other sources of media, most of people would think that Pakistan is an agricultural country. But in 2018, we had a census, and we collected data, and we found out that in 2000 we had 27.1% people working in the agriculture sector, but in 2019 it was down to 18.5. And then we have industry, and then the biggest service sector, the biggest sector of Pakistan is services. Uh, and in 2000 there was only 53.6%, but now it has grown to 61.2%, and it is the fastest growing sector of Pakistan. So now we look at the IT infrastructure, the software part. So we have 150 million mobile users. It means almost most of the population of Pakistan uses some kind of mobile. Then we have 4G and 3G connectivity, and that is only 71 million people have this type of connectivity. And for e-commerce or for digitalization in the true sense, at least people need 3G, or even 4G is a better technology. Then we have a cellular tele density in the cities of 72.1%, and we have 40.1 million active credit and debit card users. And that is also a very important measure, because in Pakistan, mobile payment is still in a very infant situation, and most of the digital transactions are made um, through debit or credit cards. Looking at the infrastructure, we have a total of 14,000 plus ATMs. We have 52 cash deposit machines, which is very, very low, because nowadays ATMs are actually wherever in most of the countries you can see ATMs and CDMs actually attached together. So in that sense, we have very less CDMs. Then we have POS machines, 53,511 all over Pakistan. So it means that there are 53 plus thousand vendors which are accepting credit and debit cards in Pakistan's markets and shops. Then we have 50.56 million bank accounts, and this is somewhere where we are lacking. It means that most of our um, population is not in the banking net, and that makes making Pakistan a digital economy somewhat problematic, because at least the people who are above 18 or above 20 need to have a bank account. They need to have savings, and they need to be present in the formal banking machinery of Pakistan, for Pakistan to be able to really capitalize on digitalization. We have 45 banks, and we have 14,000, almost 15,000 bank branches in Pakistan. And in Pakistan, I just want to tell you that the banking sector is very liberal, and unlike some countries, let's say for China or maybe even Russia, the banking sector in Pakistan is much more liberal. So we have again talking about because my focus is to give a lot of data on the connectivity issues. Uh, Ammar, can you listen to me? Okay. So my focus is actually to uh, inform the audience that what is happening in the digital sphere, and for that, mobile connectivity is very important. And we have 37%. We have 37% smartphone adoption, and our average spending on mobile is $3.3. So looking at the payment situations in Pakistan, so the biggest form of or how to say in terms of quantity, the most amount of cash is actually uh, done through the prism system, but this prism system is not available to average users, and it is a system which is used by the banks. So that is why we have billions of rupees being transferred through the prism system in 2017 to 2018. Then we have ATMs. We have a large number of transactions being made by ATMs, which also tells a trend in Pakistan that most people actually prefer to go to ATMs to do transactions or even send money or withdraw money. And then we have internet banking, which is 31.2%, 31.2 million. And then we have e-commerce, which is very low, 2.4. So we are still trapped in a traditional kind of digitalization, because ATMs is a technology of the 1990s or even early 2000s. So I think Pakistan needs to catch up really fast. Um, yeah. And then we have I can see Dr. Ammar. I think you're pointing out to something. I can't hear.
Yeah, can you please speak a little bit louder?
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So is this okay? Is
Yes, yes, yes.
all right. So in Pakistan, we have various digital currencies. And Bitcoin, we have Ethereum coin, and we also have some local coins. For example, the Pak coin. Bitcoin is really an expensive currency. Ethereum is also a very good currency, very popular with youngsters in Pakistan. And then we have Pakcoin, which is a very recent thing for Pakistan, and it's a developing technology. And so, where does Pakistan stand in the world? So, in the UNICTAD business to consumer e-commerce index, we ranked 117. And in the International Telecommunication Union, in the ICT Development Index, we ranked 148 out of 176. And we had a e-commerce percentage of 0.34%. So we talked a little bit about Pakistan, and pre-COVID, what were the suggestions or what were the speculation about digital economy by 2025. So it was that it would be a 3.7 trillion US dollar industry. It would give a 6% GDP boost to the whole world. It would create 95 million new jobs. And then it would give like 110 billion US dollars as taxes to the governments, and it would create 2.1 trillion dollars of new credit. Right now, here is a map of the global underwater fiber optic network, and you can see that of course, it's a underwater optic network, so most of the lines are shown in the oceans, but we also have a huge um, connectivity ring between countries, and that is also a very much developing phenomena right now. So in companies, we have in Pakistan we have different IT companies and call centers established since the 2000. We have a very famous software called Kareem, which is a Dubai-based technology company, which has revolutionized transportation in Pakistan, and it is one of the leaders in Pakistan's transportation market. Then we have Baikia, which is basically Uber or Didi in China, but used by bikes. Then we have Rosie.pk, which is providing jobs. Then we have Daraz.com, which is an online e-commerce shopping website. Also acquired by the Chinese company Alibaba. We have Airlift, we have OLX, and then we have a bunch of other small SMEs. Um, One of them is Urban Tailor, and there's a lot of these SMEs right now. In Pakistan, we have been focusing on uh, on providing a very healthy environment for young entrepreneurs to start their careers in e-commerce and digital economy. So we have a number of national incubation centers. They are created by the government. One of them is in Islamabad, then one is in Peshawar, Lahore, Karachi, Quetta. In almost all major cities, we have a government-based national incubation center, which provides office spaces, incentives, tax breaks to young entrepreneurs if they can qualify and they can if their entrepreneurial plan is convincing enough to get the attention of the government. Then we have some private entities like Plan 9, we have Plan X, and other private entities which have created office spaces, and they offer office spaces and coaching and resources in return for some equity from uh, the new companies. And there are also major technology parks in different universities which are competing with each other. So it's providing a very healthy environment for growth in the digital sphere. Talking about the China, Pakistan, and the digital economy sphere, we have just recently inaugurated, completed the 820-kilometer Pakistan China optical fiber cable, which runs from China's Xinjiang region to Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. And this is a very important um, source of connectivity because until now we did not have any land based connectivity cables, and all of our connectivity was going through the undersea cable lines, and sometimes due to some technical faults or some accidents, Pakistan's internet connection was affected. But now we have a stable land-based communication system, which is an addition and an advantage for Pakistan. Uh, Also, talking about the China, Pakistan, and the digital sphere, Alibaba, as I mentioned before, has acquired Daraz.pk. Daraz is one of the top Pakistan online e-commerce websites. Then also we have Ant Financial, also a part of Alibaba Group, and Alipay. which has acquired a 45% stake in Pakistan's Telenor Microfinance Bank. And the objective is actually to um, revolutionize digital payments, just like we see the digital payments in China. They want to do the same thing, and they are working towards it. But there are some technical issues still to be resolved, and it will take some time. But uh, I hope that we will soon be there. Then, talking about the logistics part, we have a number of companies, including Yuantung. Yuantung is a air freight and a land-based freight company, and Yuantung has started its air freight system from Lanzhou to Pakistan city of Lahore. Lanzhou is a central city in China, which is it is a transportation hub, and also Lahore is a central city in Pakistan. It is very close to India, which is also a very big market, and Lahore itself is a huge industrial center. So let's talk about the problems to digitization. And some of the problems to digitalization are because the 90% of the reliance is on cash on delivery. So, for instance, if I buy something online in Pakistan, chances are that I have to pay the money when the when my delivery is at my doorstep. In this sense, it is good that I only give money once my packet or package is delivered to me. But this is a slower process of cash delivery, and it causes lots of problems, and there are lots of risks involved inside of it. For example, the logistic company is on a huge risk over here. uh, for example, maybe I brought a package, but for some reason I don't want it anymore, so I will just maybe not open my door or just reject it, and you know I don't give the money, but the logistic company loses some money because of this. Then there is the issue of lack of trust. In Pakistan, there were instances where someone brought um, you know a mobile for of Samsung, but they just gave a very old version or some other problems like that. So there's like issues of trust. Then we have high electricity costs, which are also an impeding factor in Pakistan's digitalization, because digitalization also needs cheap electricity, needs servers, needs companies to be set up, be online all the time, and all of this needs electricity, and it has cost. Then in Pakistan, there is a traditional credit system in small businesses. For example, if there is a new business, for example, creating biscuits. So in Pakistan, in small shops, the system is that um, instead of someone buying the biscuits, I would just put the biscuits on the shop shelf and wait for it to be sold so that I can get some money back. And this is also a system which is not very suited for digitalization. Where in digitalization, everything happens very fast. And then also a risk to logistic companies, that is what I've already explained before, and the availability of cheap and fast digital communication. In Pakistan, most of the population has mobiles, but having fast and reliable internet is still far from reality, and Pakistan needs to work on it. And then we have some e-commerce problems. Uh, uh, for one, that the laws are not up to date. The laws are actually copy pasted from uh, various other existing laws which are prevalent in other systems in other countries. These laws may be good for them, but uh, they are not good for Pakistan, because the society here is different and the realities are different. For example, we could not imitate the laws which are prevalent in Norway or in Sweden because the systems are different and the society is different. Then we have a WeBox system, um, which is for large amounts. And in Pakistan, we need something where we can connect to the customs agencies, but on a smaller account. For example, if I buy $100 thing or a $50 thing, I should still be able to log into a system where I can pay my taxes instead of going to the VBOX system, which is mostly meant for large imports or even exports. Then there is the return of faulty products. The return of faulty products is not a convenient mechanism. Uh, Mostly, if you get a faulty product, there is not many ways to actually return it, which makes the consumer very um, unsatisfied. And then we have the cash on delivery method, which is also a hurdle in the e-commerce. And then we have consumer trends and also supply chain problems. Um, the supply chain problems are existing because Pakistan actually has a very good supply chain for large um, things, for massive cargo, but for smaller packages or for door-to-door delivery, Pakistan is still lacking the basic infrastructure for it. And we are good at large-scale cargo because Pakistan traditionally has been the gateway for Central Asian countries, for Afghanistan, and also for Pakistan itself. It needs large-scale logistics. So the future of digital economy in Pakistan, um, according to an estimation made in the latest McKinsey Global Institute report, the digital finance potential of Pakistan is about $36 billion by 2025. It would produce a 7% boost to the GDP and would create 4 million new jobs, resulting in $263 billion of new deposits. That is only if we work wholeheartedly with a lot of focus on digitalization of Pakistan. This all is achievable. Then in Pakistan, we have a huge freelance potential. We have a huge freelance market. Pakistan is the fourth largest in the world in terms of freelancers, and these are people who are offering their services, for example, writing skills, web creation, SEOs, different digital services provided by average Pakistani people. Uh, and this is a very uh, big economy because, according to estimates, because there is no actual data available, but there are estimates that this market consists around 1.3 billion US dollars. And also Pakistan's importance under the BRI and the digital economy, as we know that the Belt and Road Initiative is a is a grand plan from China, which has major countries involved in it. For example, the Central Asian countries, Russia, Pakistan, Southeast Asian countries. There are more than 60 countries right now a member of the BRI, and and there is a step um, to create an integrated digital economy between all these BRI countries. And also, I think the unbanked population of Pakistan is a huge asset for Pakistan because up until now, only there's 50 million people who have bank accounts. That means that a lot of uh, people may have money, or maybe they are local farmers. They don't have the access to banking technology or to banks, and that is why that money is not being properly utilized. And then, of course, we have the 5G and the Internet of Things, which is a new thing. already. A Pakistani mobile company called Zong has successfully tested Pakistan's first 5G test, and it has reached a speed of more than 1 gigabytes per second. The tests were very successful, and I think in maybe in 1 or 2 years, Pakistan could be seeing the launch of 5G in Pakistan's major cities, which would really revolutionize the digital economy and the digital sector in Pakistan. So there's fast forward. There's positive. I think I'm taking too much time. There's positive indicators. Pakistan is the fourth largest freelancing market in the world. 65% of Pakistan's 200 million population is from 59 to 29 age group, which is very ideal. We have 2,000 IT companies. Um, we have a massive Huawei network in Pakistan, which is a leader in 5G technologies. Um, Pakistan is producing more than 20,000 IT graduates graduates and engineers every year from our universities, and this trend is ever increasing. So this is what happened before COVID-19, and we can see that COVID-19 happened, and the world changed all around us, and of course it affected Pakistan's digital economy, it affected Pakistan's economy, and it affected each and every individual in the world. According to a recent report by the NIC, the National Incubation Center, uh, there was statistics carried out on Pakistan's some of the startups and some of IT companies, and these are some of the results uh, which were put forward. So, explaining on the current situation, uh, 41% of the startups globally are lying in the red zone with 3 months or less of cash available to them. 4 out of every 10 startups are expected to die in the next 3 months. 52% of surveyed startups reported that supply chain disruptions were adversely affecting their operations due to COVID 19. And in Pakistan, uh, let me just go on. According to the report, um, the Internet of Things industry is still growing, is still doing very well. The e-commerce is doing much better, but tourism, travel, and agriculture are doing very poor. Then we have the number of startups who had to shut down operations. And we see that e-commerce websites have also taken a huge hit in this sector. Uh, the government of Pakistan actually gave a stimulus program for the industry of 1 trillion Pakistan rupees while offering financial support. But this financial support was mostly for export companies and big industries. So actually, small startups and digital companies or e-commerce websites did not benefit from it, and they are very very vulnerable. Here we have a company called AutoX. It was a e-commerce startup which used to sell auto parts, car parts, and all the car accessories. But when it saw that COVID already hit the economy very bad, in a very bad way, and people are not buying more auto parts, and cars are not running on the roads, so they quickly re-engineered their business to providing vegetables and fruits to the consumers. So this is a successful example of re-engineering of um, some of the e-commerce websites. Then we also have other very recent startups in Pakistan, which are actually taking advantage of the situation. Let's start with some e-governance applications. there is a application called the Islamabad City app. Um, so in this app, we see that we can, the citizens can register for their domiciles, for licenses, for certificates, for land-related issues, so that they don't have to storm the government buildings, and they can avoid coming close to each other. They can observe social distancing, and also stay at their home and do their things at the comfort of their home. Then we have a telehealth startup called Sehat Kahani, which actually partnered with the government of Pakistan to provide free telemedicine services through their e-clinics, and it has been a very successful venture. Then in Pakistan, there was some plasma sharing apps which started on volunteer basis, but soon this thing changed into a money making thing, because some people did need urgent care from COVID. They needed some medication, and in the absence of medication, the blood plasma of another person who has recovered was the only source of medication, I would say. Then we have another company called Alloy, which sells PPE through its networks of doctors. Actually, this is also a very interesting venture, because it has been started by some medical students, and they started from scratch, and right now they're big distributors in Pakistan, and they're very young medical students who are already not even doctors yet. Then there are some things to look forward to. That is, a digital divide has been taking over uh, our world. We can see that there is polarization of the internet. We can see there are app bans. There are privacy issues, and there are digital finance issues erupting as to which currency can be believed to be the strongest or the most stable, where China and Russia both are coming with their own digital currencies, which are backed up by blockchain technology. Then we have the Digital Pakistan project, which is led by Tania Aidrus, who is a renowned professional, worked in Google, and has a degree from MIT. Thank you all for listening to it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moaaz, for this wonderful presentation, very elaborative presentation, and I would say that it is plausible that everything was supported by data, which is, which made it more interesting. So there are many questions. Some of the audience have asked questions, but you just mentioned at the end of your presentation about digital divides, and I was wondering that in Pakistan we have data about this as well. Like in Central Asia, there was a study in 2016 by World Bank, and this was the first and the last time when they talked about the digital divide in Central Asia, that how the technology is impacting on the lives of individuals. So in digital divides, you mentioned about polarization of internet. So I wanted to ask, can you please elaborate what is polarization of internet?
So basically, Ammar, the polarization of internet is more of a geopolitical issue. What we saw right now, that after COVID-19, countries have a massive distrust of each other. We see the United States blaming China, and the China blaming the United States, and the countries blaming each other for their own misfortunes. And this has risen the temperature. And as the COVID-19 pandemic is still prevalent in the world, the only way that a country can actually achieve economic growth is only by digitalization. And since we know that on the global sphere, two countries, China and the U.S., are competing each other for for as a great power and for economy. So both are actually, let's say, distrustful of each other. So then we see that there is a new polarization of the internet, in which the American companies do not want, the American government actually does not want Huawei to set up its digital hardware infrastructure in the United States or in the countries which it is allied with, and same for China. They do not want the U.S. companies or other foreign multinational companies to come into their own digital infrastructure market. So there is we can see polarization. For example, the recent tension between India and China also uh, just exacerbated the whole digital polarization phenomena, while uh, India actually banned 59 Chinese apps, including TikTok, which is a very popular app for teenagers and youngsters. So all of these steps have uh, contributed to the polarization of the internet, and in the future we might see that the internet may be divided into into two, or even three um, networks, which will be independent of each other, and which might not even coexist. And we will see different ecosystems, which one might be in the Eurasian region, one might be in Europe, and one might be in the United States. So this is emergence of geopolitics and the internet and the economy and the situation which we are in right now.
Okay. Uh, there is a question from the audience, and you also mentioned about problem of digitalization, different types of problems. One of our audience is asking that, do you think that withholding tax on banks transactions or filer requirements by tax authorities is also a big hurdle in expansion of digital economy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it? I just lost your connection.
He's asking that the tax withholding tax on bank transactions and the filer requirement, there are different requirements for
Yeah,
tax filers. Do
yeah.
you consider them as a hurdle?
Well, definitely these are hurdles, but most countries in the world have their own systems of taxation. It is only that in Pakistan, if we need to, um, how to say, speed up the process of digitalization, we need to make these kind of taxations very, very easy. Uh, so, for example, there could be a system introduced which automatically deducts taxes while one is making a transaction. So, of course, if we will go with the old bureaucracy and file setup and also mix it with the internet, it is just going to make a mess out of digitalization, and people will not be uh, very much willing to use this new technology.
Yeah. So there is another question from the audience, and I also have a question related to this. You were talking about the digital currencies. I wanted to ask that how do you see the future of digital currencies in the post-COVID world? And our audience is asking that the non-banking digital wallets like Easy Pesa, Tez, and Jazz Cash, do you consider them as a part of digital economy? So since they are also, the um, money moving systems, so can you please throw a light on this?
So, first of all, Talking about digital currency, um, definitely digital currency is the future after COVID-19. We still do not know when will this pandemic end, and there was a few months ago, and even still right now, there are concerns that actually COVID is actually traveling through the banknotes which we are using, which we are giving to the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper is giving back to us as change. So definitely digitalization, digital currency is the future. We can already see that China, for example, and even Russia is also working on its digital currency, and China has already launched its digital RMB, which is as we speak being used in some pilot project areas in China, where they have completely um, diminished the role of traditional cash. And Ammar, here it's something to be noted that what China has done is not just that uh, it has converted cash into currency, which is just being transferred from bank to bank, but it has actually really, in real terms, issued a digital currency which is backed by blockchain. So now, whatever currency one is using can be actually traced back to the origin. So these technologies are very important because some of the people might have privacy issues with that, but these technologies are also important because there is almost zero risk of fraud uh, uh, in these kinds of technologies. For example, in the future, if I buy something from a vendor, uh, it is not possible that he does not give me the real thing which I deserve or which I brought, because the money is traceable, and no one will lose sight of that money. And yes, of course, Jazz and Easy Passa can be termed as digital currencies. In a sense, they're not digital currencies, but they are digitalization of the economy. But definitely, they are not digital currencies, because digital currencies have to be either backed by the governments or either by independent organizations. We see the Facebook is, I guess, launching its digital currency called Libra. I guess, is it Libra? Yeah. So so there's a difference between making traditional currency into a digital currency and actually digital currency. For example, Bitcoin is a digital currency. Um, Ethereum is a digital currency, but Jazz Cash and EasyPass just serve as a mode of transport, and their digitalization of the currency. I hope I didn't confuse it, all of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the digital currency is a currency backed by something, and these Jazz Pesa and all these other
Or
softwares
just
which
the
are being,
digitalization
yeah,
of the
they are
traditional
just
currency.
moving. They are not generating money. They are just moving the money. Yeah,
Exactly.
and both are contribution to the digitalization of economy, we can say. Yes.
Yeah.
And now the final question is, since you are the part of team, we are very proud to have you at IMO Innovation Consultants,
Thank you.
and digitalization is something which is not being done by the governments. Businesses are thinking about digitalization. They want to shift from traditional business to the e-commerce, and not only the big enterprises but the small and medium sized businesses, they are also looking for opportunity to convert their businesses to e-commerce. So by using your expertise, can you please tell us what kind of services we can provide if someone approach us?
Well, simply speaking, we have a team. We are a team at IMO, and we have a very keen focus on digitalization, not just only in Pakistan, South Asia, but in the whole Eurasian region. And we are tracking the growing trends and the ever changing trends in the world, especially post COVID, and especially We're looking very keenly to the introduction of 5G, and we are providing customized solutions to various enterprises. And if they have any business problems, we are customizing, um, you know, their problems and solving them, and giving them solutions for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Maz, for your time and for the wonderful presentation. Thank you
So
very